All right, Dexy, got a
Mm-hmm.
question for you. Would you rather be in a supernatural version of Tokyo, a world where demons and aliens exist, or a world full of samurai and yokai?
I mean, demons and aliens sound cool.
Well, the reason I ask is because in this episode we are going to be doing three different ones, which I'm referring to Triple D Nation, because we've got,
Isn't that a guy on Kirby, like the giant penguin? Isn't that like his name?
I don't know, I was just referencing Guy Fieri on Diners, Driving, and Dives. It's
Oh,
Triple D Nation.
I didn't realize.
Yeah. And so, but instead of being Diners, Drives, and Dives, we are doing Durarara, DanDaDan, and Dororo.
Gibberish.
Yep.
Gibberish.
So, yeah, let's get going.
Hey, we got a tale to tell where two hearts collide. In this anime spell, father and daughter sharing dreams in the world of Venga. Nothing's as it seems. We've had a half in this journey, side by side, laughs and adventures we won't hide. Join the ride in this anime tonight. We found a half shiny ride.
All right, welcome back to Triple D Nation.
Dad, you're not Guy Fieri.
Well, we're going to be taking you to Flavor Town today.
You're bald.
Anime Flavor Town. But welcome to Weeb and a Half, the podcast where a dad and daughter bond over anime, argue about everything from plot twists to favorite characters, and prove that watching anime together is actually the best kind of family time. You watch anything new this week?
I'm almost to episode 100 of One Piece. I'm nowhere, but it's good.
I've been watching a Hulu original, which is Sensuality Noir, which it's pretty good. It's a thing with robots and humans, and
Those little pet things you told me about.
yeah, and they have mechs that are more like Gurren Lagann than like Gundam. They're not very big, but
Yeah.
there's enough for the what they call the drifters to sit in, and then they have the Magi, or their own personal Magus.
So it's not like Evangelion, like the big ones.
Yeah, no, they're not near that big.
Yeah.
They're just a little bit bigger. I mean, just big enough for a human to sit in for the most part. But I just came across it and started watching it. It's pretty good because, now since I discovered I can work and watch anime simultaneously, I can get through 3 or 4 episodes in the morning before I come home at lunch. So that's always a plus.
Yeah.
But that's actually how I went ahead and finished Dororo.
Yeah, I know. I walked in, there's like eyeballs everywhere.
Yep.
Like body parts flying.
What we're going to talk about first off is I'm pretty much watching them in the order that I've seen them. So the first one is Durarara, which it's set in Ikebukuro, Tokyo, and there's a bunch of supernatural stuff happening. There's a girl named Selty, or I guess you could say she's a girl. She's a headless motorcycle rider. And she's based off of a Dullahan, which is a Irish ghost. Like in Ireland, they're headless horse riders.
Yeah.
But, this is Tokyo, so instead of having a horse, she has a motorcycle, even though the motorcycle makes like horse sounds occasionally. Like when she like revs it up, it sounds like a horse neighing.
It's ridiculous.
The cool part about this story is that there's several different characters it goes from, but it's not from the same perspective every single time. Like every episode is a different perspective.
Yeah.
About the intersecting stories.
Yeah.
Because you have the story of all the gangs that are fighting, like the yellow scarves and the dollars, and then you have the new kid that just moved to Tokyo and his friends that he has, and then, like I said, you had the Dullahan. You've got Isaiah, who is he refers to himself as a information broker, and like he knows things and he sells it to people. Like, so if you want to know something for the right price, he can get you an answer.
Huh.
So like he knows all the what's going on. There's a guy that is like super strong who gets angry and he throws vending machines on daily basis, it feels like.
Interesting.
Yeah, and Shizuo, that's the guy. And he's like, at one point he gets shot multiple times and is just like, I need a band-aid.
Bro, what is the plot armor though? It's a lot of plot armor.
Yeah. But yeah, and then the other strong one they have is Simon, who is a Black Russian guy who is always trying to get people to come into his restaurant, Russian Sushi. And they make a whole joke about it, like when it's always making people sick because Russian sushi. But
wait, how's it making people sick?
Well, it's bad sushi. You're eating bad fish.
Oh.
So, because it's super cheap, so like it's always making them sick. The chaos through all of it is what's really cool because everyone seems to have secrets as well.
Yeah.
Because when you find out, oh, this person is actually the leader of the Yellow Scarves, and this person's the leader of the Dollars, and there's a slasher going around, and like one of the perspectives that they have is just a chat room from a group of people that are talking about
just random people.
Well, you find out later that they're all like part of the Dollars, but yeah, they're just talking about, I heard this and I heard that.
Is this like an anime full of gossip?
I mean, there's a lot of it in there, but it's so all over the place, but it's not like confusing. Like it's just there's 5 or 6 different stories all intertwining.
I feel like if you were to read it and not knowing that, I feel like it'd be very confusing. It's like we're here, but we're here now. It'd probably be confusing reading it, I feel like.
Yeah, and they're all trying to like find who they are at the same time. Like Selty is the Dullahan, and she talks about how the longer because she's looking for her head. That's the thing.
Yeah.
She's trying to find her head, and there's a whole subplot with like a pharmaceutical company that has it, without getting too deep into stuff because we've got, 3 different animes to go over today. But she feels like the longer she goes without the head, the less she remembers who she is. So
even without your brain, you can't remember much.
Yeah. So she's just trying to find who she is, and, everyone is. And that's kind of the big part of it. But it's and it's also non-linear. Like it doesn't just go from start to finish. Like it jumps back and forth through the stories as well. So like they'll be doing one thing and then it'll cut to a scene and it'll be, like what had happened prior and things like that. So it jumps to backstories, and so you're getting like 2 stories per like storyline almost.
So it's kind of like when you're like watching a show, but there's multiple people and they're in different scenes, and it cuts between them.
Yeah, and there's like I said, and they find there's this person, and then it's like part of their backstory, and you're like, oh, that connects that dot there, and I didn't find it confusing. I mean, it's one of those you do kind of have to pay more attention to than, Dragon Ball.
Just training the whole time is like what you said, right? So you don't pay much attention to it.
But they're all kind of based off of urban legends as well. Like even the Dollars, which are a gang that originally they weren't even trying to be violent, gets blamed like, oh, they're the most dangerous gang around. You don't want to mess with them. It's really just at that point, no one's ever met anyone from the Dollars. No one's ever seen the Dollars. It's just, an urban legend. It's just a story, which they do show up. And then it turns out that like everyone is part of it because you could just go online and actually join. And so all these people and like at one point, the leader sends out a text message to everyone, and like, it's in this busy part of Tokyo, and like everyone's phone starts beeping and going off. And there's 2 characters in there that are they're weeaboos. They're English but they live in Japan, but they're all about like anime and cosplay and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's in that scene, and they're just all like, man, everyone is in the doll. Like, they're just like, this is amazing. As the gang stuff, it doesn't go as deep or as confusing as, Tokyo Revengers or anything, but
That one gets kind of confusing. You have to pay kind of close attention to it. Or else they'll start fights without knowing what's going on.
yeah. And the author of it, he also created a Bakano, which I've never watched, but it's kind of
Created what?
Bakano, which I've heard about. I've never actually watched, but it's known for its like wild, crazy intertwining plots as well.
Do they like exclamation marks?
Yeah, apparently. But the other, little bit of trivia there is they called it Durarara because it sounded funny.
That's the only reason.
Yeah, it sounded weird. It was a weird sounding thing, and they felt it really encapsulated what the show was.
Where'd they get DanDaDan? And Dororo.
Well, speaking of DanDaDan, that's the next one we're going over. I watched a majority of these.
In like one day, right? There's like 12 episodes.
Yeah, there's only 12, and I watched, for the while there, I was watching them while I was doing, while I was on the elliptical out in the garage. That was that's how I started watching it. And I liked it as well.
I heard it's kind of weird.
It is weird, and it's a lot funnier than Durarara because Durarara isn't really fun. It has its moments, but it's...
Stop telling me how good it is if I can't watch it, Dad. You're being so mean.
It's funny. Like, it is more of a comedy, but it focuses on a Momo Ayase, who is a girl who believes in spirits, and Okarun, who is a boy, and he's obsessed with aliens.
Yeah.
And when they first get together, the boy...
I read this. I read it in an article. I was trying to figure out how they met. Didn't like one of them like dare each other to do something else? And then like...
Yeah. The boy doesn't believe in spirits, and the girl doesn't believe in aliens.
Aren't her earrings alien earrings?
So pretty much dare each other to do something to... well, if you don't believe in spirits, then do this. Or if you don't believe in aliens, do this. And it turns out that they both find out that spirits and aliens are real.
Did they get like abducted or something?
It's a wild plot. Like, there's a character they call Turbo Granny, who's a weird witch or spirit that wanted to steal the boys' private parts. To eat them?
Why?
Yeah. And even through all that, like, she ends up possessing him, and
that's how he gets the white hair, right?
Yeah, and he loses his testicles, and
What?
So half of the show is them trying to find his golden testicles. And they're like, it's a golden nuts. And yeah, Is it just like the D's nuts meme just taken way too far and turned into an anime? Practically.
It's just the D's nuts meme turned into like an anime.
But when the Turbo Granny possesses him, part of her spirit stays in him, and so he gains psychic powers and can turn into this like demon-looking guy.
His mood changes, right?
Yeah, it's all based kind of off of his mood. It's very Incredible Hulk type vibes.
Well, I mean, like whenever he changes, because I read that he gets like all bummed out and so sad.
Yeah, no, he becomes a downer.
That's sad.
And Momo, she fights spirits. Her grandmother is like a crazy spirit lady that...
Medium?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a really good one, and she thinks Momo is too. Turbo Granny, at one point, they finally like exorcise her out of the boy.
Orcon?
Yeah. And put her in a stuffed money cat. The
lucky cat thing? Yeah.
And she doesn't have any powers. It's just her spirit that's in there, so she can't do anything. And it's funny. Like, it's kind of, it's wild. But
wasn't there another girl?
Yeah, I mean, it's Momo's friend is in there too. I can't remember her name exactly.
I just remember there was two other characters because I read about.
There's a couple.
There was the girl with the pink hair and the guy with like the pinkish reddish hair. I remember his name was Gigi. I don't remember the other girl's name though.
Yeah, the whole big show too is like belief versus reality because they both wanted to believe in, but at the same time they didn't believe in what the other person believed in,
Yeah.
and
Just religion.
that thing kind of comes in and realize they're going to have to work together on it. And there's a whole scene where they keep missing each other because the boy obviously likes the girl. He's a nerdy guy and she's kind of popular. And
I mean, she is pretty.
yeah, and he thinks she's just hanging out with him because of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But she actually kind of likes him. And yeah, there's the other girl that you're thinking of is she was the one that kind of the mean popular girl
Yeah.
kind of led the boy on and just to get what she wanted.
Yeah.
But then she gets possessed and she ends up gaining some powers after that too. So yeah, she's in there. But
The boy just shows up on like later in the series, like really late, right? The boy, Gigi, with the reddish hair.
yeah, and the fight scenes are pretty crazy. I mean, they're not Madoka Magica. Madoka Magica crazy, but they're pretty intense. Like I said, there's only 12 episodes, so there's not as much going on, but it's still ongoing. So there's going to be another, and I'm sure there's going to be another season because it's a very popular one. It got big fast.
Kind of like how like Kaiju kind of did, just got bigger than Kaiju.
Mhm.
It's like I'm like, do you know DanDaDan? I'm like, Hazel's like, yeah, I know. I don't watch it though. And then nobody knows Kaiju. Sad.
But one of the fun facts about this one, though, is the creator, Yukinobu Tatsu. He was also an assistant on Chainsaw Man, which I'm probably going to be doing Chainsaw Man at some point. Which, I don't know, you might be able to. I'll have to.
I've heard it's really gory.
It is.
I have a plushie of one of them. I just don't watch it because Nana bought it for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's.
The girl with the braid.
I mean, it's called Chainsaw Man. He turns into a guy with.
I've seen the cover. It looks quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, DanDaDan, it's them fighting, and yeah, there's the whole angle too where they're fighting these weird alien things that are just, I forget the term they use for them, but the aliens are really weird because
they look weird
because they're trying to breed with humans. That's kind of the whole thing. Is
it because they're all guys?
Yeah, for the most part, and there's a lot of sexual overtones in the show. That's pretty much why you haven't got to watch it yet, because it's a little much at times. It's definitely aimed at teenage boys and girls. Like they're like
nice to be for it to be aimed at teenage boys.
But
he looks really nice.
But they do have, like I said, a lot of the one they fight with is spirits. But that kind of leads us into the next one I was wanting to talk about, which, we've done Durarara, DanDaDan. Now we're going to Dororo.
Dad.
Or Dororo, which is 24 episodes. And the one I watched was the one from the, 2010s.
There's more than one?
They just recently did one that they remade. And this actually has been a serial since, 1967. They keep bringing it back, but the original one was in the 60s.
Is it really low quality?
No, the one that I watched, like I said, in the 2010s is, I mean, I haven't seen any of the older ones, but the one I watched,
should have watched them all in order and see how they like.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and I don't know if I can find the other ones.
Find it somewhere, I'm sure.
Or if I can find them in English at all. That's the other thing.
Just find subtitles, man.
But the premise of this one is a lord is trying to save his land, and so he makes a sacrifice to a bunch of demon gods.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, take anything you want from me. And he does this the same time his wife is giving birth.
Yeah.
So his son is born without skin, eyes,
is
arms,
he just
or
like a
legs.
Colossal Titan? There's just like a little
He looks
body?
like a little baby Colossal Titan without arms and legs and eyeballs.
That's scary.
The midwife is supposed to get rid of him, and instead she puts him in a little boat, like a little rowboat, and pushes him into the river, and about that time she gets eaten by a demon. And he floats down the river and is picked up by, they call him a doctor, but he makes prosthetic, like wooden prosthetic limbs.
I mean,
But he's also a carpenter. It's weird how it works out.
that's strange.
He puts a mask on him and gets him arms and legs, but on his arms he has sword blade, like he has katanas for arms, and his hands and stuff go over it.
Oh, fancy.
So he pulls them off. He fights with the swords, and he discovers
Can't
that
drop them at least.
turns out that he discovers that when he kills a demon god, he gains a piece of him back, because it's kind of like there was the 12 demon gods, and what they did when the guy offered up whatever they wanted, they all ate a piece of him. So he discovered that when he kills him, he gets a piece of himself back. And there's a young person that gets in trouble, and he helps him out, and he kind of attaches to him.
Are you just like saying that so you don't give it away, or like?
Well, I mean, you kind of guess it. It's not like I'd be spoiling. And also, this, like I said, this show has been going on since the 60s.
Fair enough.
And that's Dororo. And really, it turns out that Dororo is a girl. She's like an 8-year-old girl. So
Little anime kids are genderless, I swear.
Yeah, and her parents were kind of raising her as a boy because they didn't want people to know she was a girl, because her dad was like a freedom fighter against the samurai and all that. But they go around, and she kind of, like I said, attaches to him, and so they're going from city to city trying to find these demon gods and defeat them and get money.
Is she strong or like?
No, she throws a lot of rocks.
Like, get away.
But she's but she's pretty smart too.
Yeah.
And there's there's her whole backstory, and then the intertwining of all that. Hyaku, he has a younger brother that gets born. Hyakimaru, that's what it is. His brother, and at first his brother's like, kind of like, oh man, I have an older brother. Why aren't we, bringing him into the family? And then he kind of gets possessed and starts,
like, possessed by something, or just like,
yeah, the whole thing. Why there's actually several people that don't want him to succeed is because if he succeeds and destroys all these demon gods,
they won't have the sacrifice anymore.
Right, and their town and everything or their land will fall into ruin. That's not only is he fighting demon gods at that point, he's also fighting these people that are trying to stop him, because it's like, yeah, they realize what's going on, but they don't want bad stuff to happen to their place. His father is Daigo Kagamitsu, and he's a real a-hole.
Yeah, I mean, he sounds like one.
Yeah, and he's not the final boss, but because Yakimaru is a better person than that. But yeah. And there's, it's kind of neat because when he first discovers it, but also, like, oh, he does one thing and his mask falls off and he has a face underneath. He still doesn't have eyes, and he can't talk, and he can't smell.
He just has like skin?
But he has skin. He has a face.
So is he just like mute in his nose?
Yeah, and then
Wait, he has a nose, right? He's not like Voldemort?
No, he has a nose. He just can't smell. And like, then he gets a leg back, which at one point his leg grows back and he ends up losing it at another time because it gets cut off in a battle.
Oh.
He eventually gets all of his body parts back. One of the neat things with that is him coming to terms with the fact that, like, when he gets his hearing back, he has never heard anything in his life.
That must be
so he can't sleep because everything is so noisy to him, because he hears everything. Or like when he can smell, and he's like smelling everything. Like he just like
going around like sniffing things.
Like he's smelling flowers, and at one point he just like grabs Dororo and like bends down and just like sniffs his head, sniffs her head, and she's like, "Don't do that."
Mm-hmm. That's funny.
But one of the themes in it is, the cost of power. Like, yes, the city's doing everything, but it took everything from Yakimaru. And there's a whole like subplot with some of the war that's going on against some of the warring factions.
Mm-hmm.
And like when there's a supernatural wall that is blocked there, and like they can't go past it even though most of it's knocked down.
Mm-hmm.
But like also if you get too close to it, it'll like absorb your soul, and it's actually one of the quote unquote, I guess, bosses that he has to beat.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that they worry about is the fact that he's getting all this stuff back, but Dororo starts worrying that if he defeats all these demons, he himself will become a demon because he's getting all these parts back that from demons, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's that angle on will he become evil at the end? Like, is he justified in trying to get all of it back, or is it going to ultimately
Yeah.
ruin him? The ending, I get it,
Yeah.
but like you think that Yakimaru and Dororo, like, you know, walk off into the sunset and they end up going their separate ways.
Oh, I hate it when that happened.
But at the very end, Dororo starts running, and it's like she's running towards something, and it pans, and you see Yakimaru, and then it pans back to her, and she's older, like teenage, maybe adult, and then it pans back, and he's at the end of the pier, and he turns around and he looks, and that's where it ends. So
It's
it
kinda
kind of
weird.
leaves you, maybe they ended up finding each other again. Not what you would expect.
Yeah.
So it was kind of refreshing in that because you were expecting it to go one way and it goes a completely different.
Yeah.
But like I was mentioning with the fact that it was first done in 1967 and the last one was 2019 is apparently it is the prettiest one, which I guess we'll have to find to watch because now I'm kind of curious because like I said, the one I watched was I think 2010. It's
How
the one
many
that
years
was
ago
on.
was the first one?
Well, 1967, so 40, almost 60.
57?
Yeah, a long time ago.
That's older than it's older than you.
Yeah. Just to compare the three of them here, it's just a quick thing. Like you have some of the main characters like Celti and Shinra, or Momo and Akarun, and Yakimaru and Dororo, which,
They all sound very different.
yeah, and they are like, as far as like the chemistry goes, Celti and Shinra are probably the best fit.
Yeah.
Whereas Momo and Okarun are like, because they are so different, that's kind of what makes it fun.
Yeah. So they're like,
Yeah.
'cause, like I've seen pictures of them like interacting and they're just like so different.
Yeah. And then with Dororo and Yakimaru, it's more of a hero sidekick dynamic and not really a duo, you know.
Imagine being the sidekick, bro. So sad.
Dororo is just really a sidekick for the fact that, you know, he's really young and the other one has swords for arms.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But why is it named after her then?
Don't know. I don't know if maybe some of the other serials that they did of it, maybe she's more of the main character. I mean,
Mhm.
she's throughout the whole show. It's just this one focuses on him more so. And then with the villains throughout the show, you have Isaiah, which is from Durarara, the broker, the information broker. And the thing with him is,
The bad guy.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to say there's just a bad guy in Durarara, but
Yeah.
he's the one trying to like manipulate and change, you know, get things and get people to do stuff. And kind of him throughout the whole thing is him like he plays chess or some kind of game of like that to where,
Checkmate.
yeah, he's trying to control the board.
Yeah, trying to get checkmate, I guess.
Yeah. And then you've got Turbo Granny, who ultimately becomes a cat. So,
Well, I've seen a picture of what they look like. They are so weird.
yeah. I mean, Isaiah ends up at least getting away, whereas Turbo Granny is encapsulated into a...
Lucky cat.
Yeah. And Daigo, while he doesn't die, he loses his land and everything.
Yeah. Not too
So-
bad.
Yeah. But as far as drawing visuals go, Durarara is really cool. One of the things that I like about that is like if they're not a main character or they're not a focus,
Yeah.
they're just gray.
Really?
There's no color. So the only people you see are the ones that have color are the characters you're paying attention to.
I mean, I guess
And
it
the-
helps draw attention to them more
Yeah.
because, like I noticed when I'm watching One Piece, though, there's so many characters in the background that I see. I'm like, oh, that person's cool. That person's cool. Like, I'm not even looking.
Yeah, and there's so much chaos going on in the show, it does kind of help you focus in on it.
Smart.
DanDaDan is very colorful, very wild, and
The outfits are very colorful.
yeah. And then Dororo's, I mean, I wouldn't say it's visually stunning or anything. Like, it is a darker one because
Like the colors are just darker, or it's like the
just the overall tone and everything, the feeling of the show. And I mean, it's not like super bright. They're fighting a bunch of yokai, things like that. Then if you kind of pointing out one of the things here they suggest is like a hypothetical fight, which I would have to say if Yakimaru, Okarun, and Shizuo got into a fight,
who'd be the first to die?
Okarun.
Fair enough.
Like, I mean, if he changes, he might have a chance, but
I feel like he'd need Momo.
yeah. And Hyakimaru has his swords and everything. I mean, I would be going for Shizuo because he doesn't have any special powers. He's just super strong. And his character, there's a whole scene where he shows up and he starts talking to this, like a gang, group, well, some of the people from the Yellow Scarves. And they're like, you need to get out of here, old man. What are you doing? And it's like, oh, wait, you're Shizuo. And he's like, yes, I am. And he takes his sunglasses off because he's, no matter day or night, he's wearing sunglasses.
He's just cool
He
like
takes
that.
them off and everyone, like, they start freaking out and running. And, like, he just, like, at one point he throws a vending machine at somebody.
That poor person.
Yeah. So he's one of the funner characters. So, but with those comparisons, like I said, with the gibberish trilogy that I have here, if I had to pick a favorite, it'd probably be Durarara. Dororo was good, and DanDaDan's not finished, so that could
Fair
still
enough.
show up more. But I remember watching Durarara when it first started showing on Adult Swim and being like, oh man, this is cool. And I missed some episodes, and finally when I was able to go back and watch all of them, and I'm like, I remember why I enjoyed this so much.
Yeah.
But with that, I think we're going to take a quick break and do an ad. And then when we come back, Dexy's going to quiz me on this Triple D Nation one. And it's called, what is the title of it?
D or not D?
There we go.
Hey fellow anime fans, it's Dexy. If you're loving Weeb and a Half and want to help support the show, you should totally check out our Patreon. Not only will you be helping us keep the podcast going, but you'll also get some awesome perks like bonus episodes, access to the Discord, and even a shout out in an episode. Basically, you'll get more anime talk, more laughs, and maybe even more of Dad's terrible takes. Trust me, it's worth it. So if you want to join our little anime family and get some exclusive goodies, head over to patreon.com/weebandahalf and check it out. Thanks for the support, and as always, stay weeby.
Welcome back. It is quiz time, and I'll be quizzing Blake, or well, Dad. That's what we're calling him that. On a quiz called D or not D. I will give him a character, and he'll have to guess if it belongs to Durarara, DanDaDan, Dororo, or not D, as in another anime.
Alrighty.
Okay, Isaiah.
Isaiah is Durarara because that's the information broker that I just
I was
mentioned.
like, how do I pronounce these? Turbo Granny.
Turbo Granny is DanDaDan.
Yeah, I'm like, that one's easy.
Yeah.
Yakimaru.
Yakimaru is Dororo.
Hold on. Makuno Ti Ippo.
I think that's not D.
Yeah, that's from Hajime no Ippo.
Okay.
I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I'm guessing
Yeah,
on
I've never
that.
seen it either.
Shinra.
Shinra? Yeah, Shinra is Durarara.
Momo.
Of course, DanDaDan.
I think it's pronounced Jukai. Jukai.
Yeah, Jukai. Is that not D?
That's Dororo.
Oh, okay, yeah. There we go. Look at that.
And Rika Orimoto. Oh, I know this one.
That one is not I'm guessing it's not. I don't know what it is though.
It's Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh, which we're gonna be doing that, right?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I haven't gotten very far into it, so it might be like a few weeks later.
Okay, that might be the next one I start watching too, just so we can both knock it out.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
It's depressing, but it's pretty good.
Was that all of them?
Yeah, there's only 8.
Okay, I didn't know. It was a quick one, like I said, so it was just funny with the whole D or not D because we're this anime flavor town. We're taking y'all down today, the Triple D Nation. It's like people are always asking me, Blake, what about that one place you visited that time in high school? What are they doing now? I'm like, it's probably on Crunchyroll.
Dad.
Or there's 3 other animes now, and they've branched out into 2 different cities.
Oh my god, bro, Dad. I mean, Crunchyroll doesn't even have the English One Piece. I mean, it kind of makes sense since it's like the anime. I guess it kind of makes sense they don't have English, but still.
But going back to the shows, I mean, each of the Triple D anime brings something special. Durarara gives us that urban myth chaos. DanDaDan hits us with, crazy humor and action. And Dororo gets deep and emotional and kind of depressing at the end. But you want to reach out to us, you can hit us up on the email, which is
weebeenahalfpodcast@gmail.com.
And you know where to listen to us. Spotify,
Apple Music, YouTube Music, podcast things,
all those. And we also are on Patreon, so if you want to join in, become a Patreon, we would highly appreciate it. Yeah, that's about all I have. So, what about you?
And that's a wrap on today's episode of Weeb and a Half. Thanks for hanging out with us. And remember, whether you're a hardcore weeb or just here for the fun, we're all family. I'm Dexy.
And I'm Blake.
Stay weeby.